My name is Sanjeev Jangra, and I am here to present a seminar on topic data required for valuation reports. And I am a CPD 2022 batch student. So I am going to present my seminar. Here we go. I will talk about just an introduction about my topic data required for valuation reports. Uh, Demand to access estimated value of property led to a shift towards advanced property valuation methods. The reason for using word here advanced because of volatile market and sizable number of data set available. A valuation report is common way to determine value of property using data and expert opinion. A valuer need data related to property sold in and other nearby and appraisal of property is based on location, amenities, structural conditions, and recent sales in similar local properties. Therefore, underlying requirement for any valuer is availability of right amount of data. In current modern world there is no shortage of data, but the problem is what data should be considered and what not. In this presentation I am going to present different aspects of data which valuers has to consider. um, Adding those data in valuation report will solely rely with valuers, and he can consider more aspects if needed. And now we will discuss about source of data. There are so many sources of data, but there are two types of sources. uh, we can divide classified broadly into two categories: verified and unverified. Verified data, we will discuss here about the verified data and unverified data. So there are numerous ways data can be collected for valuation of a property. Collection of these data can be classified broadly into two categories: verified and unverified. Unverified sources doesn't mean that data from them can't included, but it can be used as references for valuation of report. Verified data are those data which we have taken from banks while any kind of file assigning to us, assigning to valuers. What kind of papers they are providing in their file, like sale deed, original documents, hadud certificate, conveyance deed, map, layout map, and approved layout plan. With the approved authority, verified data can be collected from government websites, official records from courts, original paper with valid stamps from clients directly. And unverified data are those data like old photos provided by client, which are right now that right now the house or the property is not viewing like those photos provided by the client. And private property sale websites, verbal or written details provided by a person. So these are the unverified data. We can include them, but we can't we can't write in our valuation reports. We can include for the valuation purpose, valuation report also. So now there is a type of data. It's the second point. Type of data. During valuation of property, each bank or authority has its own guidelines and a defined process which allow valuers to value property. Therefore, it is important to know what type of data valuers are going to collect from above sources. Official documents, documents like sale deed, conveyance deed, allotment letter, Hadood certificate, uh, uh, layout plan of the building, uh, and etc. So many other official documents there may be court letters or announcements, unofficial or official value of property of similar sites, monthly rent of rented property, depreciation rate considered, locality and surrounding details. Sale deed, if we will talk about official documents about the sale deed, a sale deed is a deed where seller seller states that I am selling my property to the buyer, and he is the genuine buyer, and he paid all my payments, and the property to be the deed to be registered in his or her name. And here the buyer means the genuine buyer who got the property, who paid all the payments of the seller regarding the property, and got registered in his or her name. And if conveyance deed is that deed where if a property, like we will take an example here, if a property of a housing board is to be registered with a name of allottee. So if the allottee will pay all the payment of that property will get conveyance deed first before sale deed. Get conveyance deed in his or her name, and after that, after doing conveyance deed, after paying all the payments and the conveyance deed fees in the department will do conveyance deed in the allottee name, and after that allottee can make a sale deed to another to the buyer person. And allotment letter is that letter the department where assigns a letter after a successful draw or a successful allottee to the successful allottee, and the department will issue a allotment letter to the successful allottee. So court letters and we had discussed. So now here is the reasonable pricing. Reasonable pricing, every seller expect to set a price that make them the most money possible for seller. Valuer must restrict itself from any outside interference while pricing a property, because if valuer will not restrict itself from any outside interference, then the pricing of a property will definitely affect, and he can make a mistake here. So valuer must restrict. A valuer should collect a reasonable amount of data for comparative market analysis, which must be basis on key data points like size of property, like market price, like appreciation rate based on surroundings, like depreciation rates based on assessment of physical property, like year of construction, like material used, like which query material they purchased, they used. So, for instance, market price of assets is always higher than register and registrar and collector rates. It will definitely always above than the collector rates in these days, because now we see the rise in the property today's it's really up from the collector rate. Market price is what a valuer will set basis on his or her analysis. Required data for market price I elaborated before. I can elaborate another again, like size of property, market price, appreciation rate based on surrounding, depreciation rate based on assessment of physical property, year of construction, material used. Finally, while pricing, these are not only factors, there can be other factors which can influence the pricing of property, and it's duty to and it would duty to valuers to include as much information available. Okay. Now we will move toward the next point, that is gathering and maintaining data. During valuation, valuers are not only obliged to collect data from all means, but they must also maintain their data in a well defined format so that references can be made for valuation of other properties. If valuers are only collecting data but not maintaining it, it brings more headache for valuation for himself, for other similar properties, because another similar properties when in the next after 5 days or 10 days or after 1 month will come, then he must do all the exercises again, accepts the few one, but he had to do another all exercises from starting to till end of valuation of that similar property, and I think it's such a waste of time. It would be waste of time, but so that's why he has to maintain all the data of the property. He will spend more time on collecting similar information which they already had, gather, record, analyze, and maintain a variety of data such as joining, asking, and selling prices, income, and building costs to determine appraised values. Because below are a few advantages of maintaining data. Like first one is efficiency in producing more reports in less time. The gathering and maintaining data help in efficiency in producing more reports in less time. And second one is reduce effort in searching related data. It will definitely reduce efforts in searching that kind of related data. More consistency in providing appraisal of assets, guidance for other valuers for reference. It would be definitely guidance for other valuers for reference. If any valuer did the same, maintained the same data in his record, and it can help to another one to assess those market values. So now we will move on to the next point, that is neighborhood delineation and analysis. Neighborhood data is also another kind of data which can fall under unverified data. The unverified data we had discussed before. Here it means neighborhood data is also another kind of data which can fall under unverified data, but it's one of important external factor which could have effect on property value. Data for this can be available online, official maps, or needs to collect self by visiting sites. Zoning maps and zoning restrictions can be obtained from local registered office, but to know how much area has been developed and surrounding details can be obtained by personally collecting those information. But important to maintain those so that for other valuation fees Valuation, sorry, not fees. Valuation, other valuation, less effort is required. Below are few classifications for delineation and analysis. Demographic characteristics like rivers, mountains, woods, etc. Social condition within an area, if it is a developed area or if it is underdeveloped, developing stage or developing stage, underdeveloped. Occupancy percentage, how much the occupancy in that area is available. uh, house type house type house quality, house age and its condition. Economic factors of area. Economic factors of area like roads, highways, railroads, streets, corporation lines, etc. Means if there are availability of the highways nearby the property, and roads, what kind of roads are available there. If the valuation of the property nearby the highways will be different, and inside the and inside between a colony, inside between a sector, the rates will be different, and the property located in between the streets, uh, that's value will be different, and property located between the corporation lines, that's property will be that's price will be different. So we a valuer must take in consideration this factor of area as well as the nearby demographic characteristics. If a property is nearby the rivers, nearby any mountain, nearby any woods, so there will be that kind of threat. If like if a property is nearby any flood, nearby any river, so there are so many chances in the rainy season that flood can come and it can affect the property. So a valuer must put his analysis as well as the market value of that property according to keeping view of the demographic characteristics. And also valuer must take in consideration uh, regarding the social condition within that area. If it is developed, that its rate will be different, its price will be different, its price definitely must be higher, because there is an because there is an occupancy, maximum occupancy is already occurred in that developed area. There are so many markets, there are every kind of market available for the daily needs of the people. And if it is underdeveloped, then and then it is completely completely aware about that, that there is less occupancy in that area, as well as with the basic facilities, like basic facilities as well as amenities, as well as markets, and availability of most of the things is less available there, so that is underdeveloped. And if it area is in the developing stage, then its price value will be different. So house type, what kind of house type, what kind of house quality. House quality here means that what kind of material used in building that house, or a building build. So it's about its condition. If its condition is worst, if a valuer is going to value a property, and he has to check like if the plaster of the walls is plaster of the walls is properly maintained or properly pasted, so then the value of the property is good, because if the plaster of the walls is not removed, then it means that property is buildings walls are having so much strength, and and the seepage is have not gone into the walls. And see everything. Now the next point here: collective efforts for data. Single person is not capable of actually collecting all transactions and information on social media. It's just for a reference, but they don't define actual transaction done for assets. There are properties bought and sold on daily basis, and these transactions are good to have for valuation. Therefore, each valuers put its own effort to have those information, those transactions under their radar and gain trust from others for authenticity of gathered data. Just by collecting and storing data is not going for help larger audience. If data is maintained in a collective manner and shared with trusted people, can bring more transparency for valuation of a property. In addition, it also bring more consistency in valuation of assets, and less uh, errors are involved. Below are the pros and cons related to collective effort from all valuers for data. Pros: heterogeneity is more stronger. Comparison of a multiple property is easy, and trend of transaction can be monitored and taken into consideration for valuation. Uh, Cons: not being enough transaction to construct an index, privacy of sensitivity transactions, centralized system and its maintenance cost. So here I presented my seminar on topic data required for valuation reports. Hope you all understood my seminar according to my communication and according to my presentation. So thank you, and